Hey there, Dr. Nicola Dellinger coming to you live. I had such a great conversation with one of my patients last night that I could not wait to share it with you. And basically, we were talking about something going on at work, and her insides, her guts, really getting really tight around it. And she was like, "But it was so stupid. It was this small little thing, and it really wasn't that big of a deal." And blah 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 blah. We're kind of justifying it or rationalizing it away. P.S., which is what most of us do all the time to our emotional bodies, but especially at work. And so we were having this conversation around how at work emotions aren't appropriate. It's just not the time and a place to have an emotional response. So when she felt stressed about this transition at work, there was like no space for her, right? And so she was pushing down her experience to such a point that she actually started getting cramping and bloating in her gut. And so we did a little exercise where she just closed her eyes for a few moments and just called that part of her who was feeling nervous about that transition back into the room and just let her be present. And we asked, "Hey, is there anything you'd like to say?" The part said no, and she just wanted to be held or presenced, really. And then as we just took a few deep breaths together, we were just checking in, and then eventually she was like, okay, she feels totally calm. And so then we opened our eyes, and it's like, okay, well, how does your belly feel now? And her belly had gone totally flat again and wasn't tight or anything like that. And so I'm bringing this to you because the conversation that ensued was, well, we're not supposed to be emotional at work. Work is a place where we get things done. We're very logical, we're very linear. And a lot of us fear that if we make 20 or 30 seconds or 2 minutes available for our emotional body, that we're going to get hit with this like wave of emotions and be a total useless puddle on the floor. But that's actually not true. Another myth that we tell ourselves, or that the critic tells ourselves, kind of that part of us that's really driving us to put ourselves second or third or last, is that the emotional body will get in the way of us being efficient. And so part of the conversation that we had with this emotional body last night, with the emotional body, but also with that logical, linear, get her done part of this woman, which is really important at work. We don't want to get rid of her. She's not wrong. But we had this conversation with that kind of do it part of her that said, okay, so let's talk about how when you were at work and you were worried about this thing, were you 100% focused? No, I was probably 80% focused and 20% kind of hung up around being nervous about this transition. And so I said to her, kind of do herself, okay, well, if you had given a minute or two to the emotional body and cleared it out like we just did, do you think you would have been more effective and more efficient? And all of a sudden it was this aha moment for the doer part of this person, where all of a sudden it was like, oh, if I actually tend to my emotional body, I will actually be infinitely more productive and clear-headed and open-minded and not make mistakes and not miss stuff because I'm 100% present, not mostly present, but kind of have this thing that's nagging. So my invitation to you today is to really pay attention to your emotional body all the time, not just sometimes, not just when you're in a meditative state, not just when you're home by yourself, but even at work or places where you're supposed to be different and you're not supposed to be emotional. Because the reality of our human existence is that we are emotional beings and that we're having emotional experiences all the time. And that if we tend to them moment to moment, that it will actually clear our system so that we can then refocus fully on the task at hand. And then it really only takes a few moments. You will not be totally tsunamied and incapacitated and not able to work for the next 7 hours or 3 days or whatever the fear is. So just offering you a little bit of perspective around why it's important to bring your emotional body to work. If this was helpful for you, please feel free to share it. And if you feel like you're someone who does not put her or himself first, check out my program. I'll put a link down to the bottom. Just launched it today. Would love for you to join. We're starting in a couple of weeks. And I think this is a really, really important piece that I've gotten so much positive feedback from you all around how we don't take care of ourselves and we don't put ourselves first, and we're not kind to ourselves. So let's all jump in together and figure out how to do that different. Again, my name is Dr. Nicola Dellinger, and I look forward to talking with you soon. Bye.